Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video, which is my few months later review of the Velocity One. It's just been over 3 months. I believe I got my Velocity One on November the 15th, so just over 3 months since I've got this. So I'm going to be very honest and very transparent in my review, my few months review. The things I absolutely love with it, some of the new features. The SIP backlight's now working, and the reverse thrust, all the buttons layout, the things I love about it, and maybe a couple of sticking points. Like I said, I'm going to be completely honest with this 3-month review. So let's not dilly-dally, let's get into the video. Let's talk about the good things over the past few months, things that have actually improved with the Yoke system, or features that I found that I absolutely love. I mean, recently we got this SIP, the status indicator panel, lights lighting up with various different parameters in the sim. So for example, taking your parking brake on and off. There you go, parking brake on. Oops, that's autopilot on. I do apologise. Parking brake on. Off. So you can see the light disappears from the SIP panel at the back. Put it back on again. Let's put some flaps in, shall we? Move my hand out of the way. So the flaps indicator will go white when you've got some flaps and go fully green when you've got full flaps, and you can take them back up and the light will disappear. I did say I'll link the video I did about the features of the SIP panel and the reverse thrust additions that came in recently. The SIP especially is a game changer, and I really mean that. It adds a lot of immersion in a flight. Some aircraft do have lights when certain things are pressed on in the cockpit of your aircraft, or certain buttons and certain levers, and it just adds a heck of a lot of immersion, and I've not seen this on other Yoke systems, so for me that's a real winner. What else can I talk about? Should I talk about the trim wheel? I best not, but it's simply the best trim wheel I've come across, and it's stayed firm over the past few months, and I've just loved using it. It's the best way I've found to trim an aircraft, full stop. The levers, I've not used these much. I've used them now and again. Now the tension on these are fine for me. Some people think they're a bit loose. I think they're fine. As you can see, I've got no issues there. And of course the reverse thrust detent was a recent addition as well, so it's nice to see that. I've not used them much because I've enjoyed using these sorts of single prop GA push-pull levers. I think these are absolutely fantastic. Another game changer. When I first saw the promotional pictures for this Yoke system, it was this I was most interested in, this and the trim wheel, and I'm glad to report, after a few months as well, these are absolutely another game changer for me with this Yoke system. It just adds a whole lot of immersion when you're flying something like, I'm in the Cessna 172 there, but when you're flying something like the Cessna 172, 152 single prop aircraft, these controls just take on a whole new entity and a whole new meaning. They are absolutely brilliant to use. It's the best throttle control system I've come across yet in a Yoke system. So absolutely love that. Buttons everywhere. I was originally thinking about putting my multi-panel to the side there so I could have that, so you know I could switch on autopilot, go in heading mode. Because you've got so many PLV and hat switches here, and buttons, it's like having your own kind of multi-panel built into a Yoke. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely love that as well. And yeah, those features, like I'll link the video I did about autopilot, assigning autopilot functions on the Velocity One. You can do so much with this because you've got so many switches, and you've got buttons on the back here too, bumper buttons. And for rudders, you'll notice I've got no rudder set down there because I feel quite at home with these rudder system. you've got a couple of buttons on either side here that act as triggers rather, that act as rudders. And these work just brilliantly. Absolutely love all those features. Now let's come to things that have been a bit of a sticking point. Banking left and right is absolutely brilliant. As you can see, 180 degrees of turn, both left and right for your banking. Oh, my aircraft's not enjoying that. Maybe I should pause it. 180 degrees left and right. Absolutely lovely. When you're banking and turning it in the sky, it's so precise, it's so nice. What has always been a sticking point since I got this yacht, when I did my first impression video, I didn't notice it straight away. It was only afterwards on the next few flights. When you're pulling back on the pitch axis of the yoke, it does like to stick out. It certainly did within the first few flights, within the first few days, first week, I would say, first week or two. It still does a little bit, but it's not nearly as pronounced as it were. As Turtle Beach said, and they're very open and very helpful, I'll link their Discord and YouTube page down below, so you can go and ask questions and queries yourself there. They were very open and said that yes, there is a bit of an issue with that, with the pitch axis, but it does wear in and eases up over time. I can tell you now, after a few months, especially coming into land, I'm going to do a full screen flight in a moment, and I'm going to connect the yoke to my Xbox. It's currently connected to the PC because I've got the backlight features showing there, but I'll connect it to the Xbox, do a full screen flight and show you this in motion. Coming into land and flaring out, absolutely no issue now. It's worn in nicely. It does stick now and again. Ironically, it's more when I'm taking off and I just sometimes have to make sure that it's centered in the pitch axis. Coming in to flare to land, no issue. I'm going to show you that, but it's still a sticking point, and I'm just being honest here. This has put other people off and even caused people to return their yokes. What I would say, be a bit more patient with that. I'm going to show you a physical demonstration of how this does ease up over time. Okay, so with that in mind, let me now connect this to my Series S, and let's go for a physical demonstration of how the yoke feels and works in flight. Okie dokie, picking a pokey. You'd only get that reference if you're very English-ized, or you've seen The League of Gentlemen. Anyway, I'm at London City Airport. Simple route set up from London City over to London Heathrow. And it's just to show you how this yoke is now just fantastic after a few months of use. Let me throttle up. I will show you live action of the yoke and just relieve my parking brake once I'm up in the air. I've got nothing set on the autopilot, you see, no autopilot altitude, because I'm going to show you, and I've showed you this in another video that I linked before, you can simply assign one of the many hat switches, or PLV switches, on the yoke system to do that for you. We can take off. What I'm going to do, just going to trim up a little bit there. And no issues at all, I'm up in the air, trimmed up. Let me just grab my camera now. Now what I do want to do is bring my view down, and I'm going to use my left hat switch to increase that assigned autopilot altitude. You see that blue figure in the top right there? To 1200. That's fine. I'm now going to press this button, which turns my autopilot on, and that button, which will follow the course I've got set up. It's going to climb to 1200 feet. And it's going to follow my GPS course that I've got set in. Now I've shown this in other videos just to show you how this is like having a whole system, a whole multi-panel system built into your yoke. Going to press heading hold on. Going to fly to that heading book, which is by default on north. Going to use my hat switch 2 here to bring that blue bug back to pretty much my direction. And I can control the aircraft in heading mode. Absolutely lovely. I've showed this in other, and I've showed it in all various controllers for the whole Task 1 and Xbox controller as well. But I'm just showing you on this specific yoke system. It's so intuitive to use one of the many hat switches or PLV switches for that type of use. and it really does take it to the next level. I'm going to put it back on GPS mode. It's not got into GPS mode because I'm too far away from the magenta line, so I use my hat 2 to put my heading back towards my GPS. Bring my throttle back to about 2600 RPM so I don't over rev the engine. Look how wonderful it is to use. It's just incredible. It's the big selling point of the Yoke system, among many other things. By the way, you can see I'm on my Xbox here. It is indeed on the Xbox. It's playing on that TV, recording in OBS via a capture card. The backlight's not showing, of course, SIP lights status on the Xbox. But there you go. Oh, yep. It's flying back towards our course. Let's just encourage it a little bit more. Move my heading mode. Even though I'm in GPS mode, I'm still in heading mode as well because it's not locked onto GPS. Any second you'll see GPS flash. Bring it up, down to that screen. You'll see that GPS go green. I'm back in GPS. The autopilot is following the course. Press my right bumper button. And of course, with this PLV switch, I can look around smoothly. Put it back in the cockpit, as with the cockpit, oops, as well. Look around, sort of free view, reset cockpit mode, you've got the quick, it's just so versatile, absolutely fantastic. Okay, let me just stop recording there. And now what I'm going to do here is just follow the course. Look, I can sit here and chat for you for the next 10 minutes until it gets to Heathrow Airport. I won't. I'll cut it and bring you back once we're a bit nearer. Okay, so we're just over 8 nautical miles out. When we get to around 6-ish, as you can see there, 7.8. Top of the left G1000, it shows you how far we got to go to our waypoint. And we can see Heathrow Airport ahead of us there. I'm not going to do any more recording with my camera with the Velocity one for now. I'm just going to show you how well, now after a few months, this does flare when I'm coming into land. So I want both hands free for the moment. What are we? Yeah, we're coming down now. So I'll tell you what, I'll use the wonderful push-pull lever on the throttle. 6.7 now. How near are we? It's a very, very easy landing this into Heathrow. That'll do. Going to use a push-pull throttle, and I love that. Just to get my RPM, look to your right, the right G1000 there. That RPM down, and it's a good way to gauge your speed, actually. Gauge what speed you should be at. Get it to around 1900, and that'll put you under autopilot at a good speed to come down to flaps 1. Don't slow down anymore now, that's fine. So there you go, you can see that speed coming down, you can see the white taper on the speed ribbon. Once we hit that, we can go to flaps 1. Yeah, we've got enough time. Okay, so we're coming down, that'll do. Flaps 1. Use my left PLV, just do a quick view left to see my flaps have indeed come down. Keep my throttle up. Once you put flaps down, RPM likes to slow down a little bit more. Just keep that up to around 1900. I'm gonna... Do I click it off autopilot yet? No need to? No need to. Let it go a little bit longer. I've got it on live multiplayer, by the way, on North Europe server. There's quite a few of my people in Discord who fly around this area, and people from the videos, so, you know, I like to do videos in live multiplayer, just to give people that sort of inclusion in my videos as well. If we see 1 or 2 famous faces, which we often do, or familiar faces, I'll click it off autopilot now, that's fine. So we're off autopilot, just going to check my wonderful little trim wheel, that's all in sync. From now on I'm going to use my throttle to control my altitude, as we should. Now line up properly for runway 27 right there at Heathrow. And give you a demonstration of how well this flares now. When I used it for the full multiplayer flight, which I linked before. Well, I will link in this video if I haven't linked it, don't worry. I've used it in that. for that whole flight, and I use it on my PC pretty much all the time now, my Velocity one, aside from when I'm doing videos on the what's it called, Logitech flight yacht system, of course. Which I will be doing more of, guys. I know there's quite a lot of fans of the Logitech flight yacht system. I'll be doing more videos on that, and the radio panel, they will be coming up, don't worry. And other videos. It's quite a busy time, not just in making videos, but real life as well. Lots going on. Just be patient with me. Okay. And what I want to do, I just want to get a good approach. You always get one or two people saying, this procedure's not being followed, that procedure's not being followed. No, I'm just getting a good approach so I can show you the flare and how well the Velocity 1 flares when I'm coming into land. Yeah, that's quite a good approach, isn't it? Just line up a little bit better, come to my left a little bit, and then right. And that's fine. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Oops. Oh, let's just go to flaps 2, just to slow us down and put us into a better landing configuration. And I'm just using my trim wheel there as well, just to compensate for that flare, then put it back to where it was pretty much. Just keep up that approach there. We should hit the threshold of the runway, and then I can reduce the throttle and just flare for a landing. Right, that's fine. Let's bring the throttle back there. And I'm just using the yoke itself now. As you can see, I'm... Oh, wow! That put me off a little bit. Flaring for a land there, no issues at all. I don't have any difficulties flaring for landing. Even when I see the runway late. Using the Velocity 1. So it has indeed improved for me. Okay, let me now take you to my conclusion. So what are my overall thoughts, conclusions and recommendations, honestly, for this yoke system? Well, hopefully, as you can see from my demonstration, I have no issues now after a few months pitching for landing, flaring for landing rather, pulling back with that yoke axis, which was the only sticking point about it. Pardon the pun. But now, it's absolutely brilliant, works like a dream. It's my go-to yoke system, the one I love using because it has so many darn features with it. I've mentioned the SIP, the backlight features there, the multitude of buttons, hat switches, PLV switches that you can set up. It's second to none in that sense. For this price range, at £350, now you've got the Logitech Yoke and CH Yoke for PC systems at the moment. Probably something similar will come to Xbox. I'll talk more about that in a minute, in fact. For this price range, so you've got the Honeycomb Yoke, that's on the PC currently. When it launches on Xbox, it's likely to be over £500 for that sort of throttle system and yoke system. This is currently the best within that price range. What I would say to Turtle Beach, and you probably know this yourself, any production going forward, ensure that that stickiness in the yoke is not there from day one. If it's not, it's a 10 out of 10 yoke. It's a 9.5 out of 10 for me currently. Now, I did message James at Turtle Beach. He's a Turtle Beach representative. If you go on their Discord, you'll see James there all the time. It's James underscore TBS. So he's the Turtle Beach representative there. And I messaged him before our live stream flight. I'll link that in the top right for you. And I just said, I'm going to make a video on this soon, this 3 month later video, or 3 month review. So can you inform folks about whether you're getting the SIP functionality, that backlight functionality, working on Xbox? He said, no worries, sure, looking forward. Okay, yes we are. We're working on it with Microsoft and Asobo to get the right parts built into the sim itself. They're actually waiting, of course, for Microsoft and Asobo to build in the right infrastructure into Microsoft before they can implement that SIP system on the Xbox. But they're working at it. because of the nature of that, it would take longer than the PC. This, when it works on PC, that's pretty much the beta. We're pretty much the guinea pigs for that. They're going to streamline that to get it working in a less clunky way, so it'll just work basically out of the box or when you start flight sim, that type of thing. And then they'll implement it on Xbox as long as Asobo and Microsoft have got the right parts added into the Xbox simulator for it to work. So they are working hard on that, and that's straight from James himself. So yeah, hold off for that. Once that is implemented, 9.5 out of 10 is so close to being a 10 out of 10 Yoke. If that slight stickiness wasn't there, it would be, and if it wasn't there from day one, like I said, do be patient. I've tried to be honest with this few months later review. Do be patient on that. It does wear off, it does ease, and like I said, I'm having no issue now pitching for landing. I love to use my Logitech flight yoke system with my radio panel and my multi-panel on there. It's a no frills yoke system, a lot cheaper of course. But whenever I use that, I always miss using this because of all the features and all the razzmatazz. It does make it one exceptional yoke system, and I can't help it, I just fully recommend it. But listen, do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I know a few people have got these yoke system. It seems to me 8 out of 10 people, at least according to my Discord, have bought this yoke system because they own an Xbox console. Which is a no-brainer. It won't be long before we start seeing the £100, £200 yokes released on the Xbox system. They must be in the wings already by certain companies, waiting to release them. But for this price range, you're getting a heck of a lot of features. Like I said, it's like having its very own multi-panel built into the yoke system. Let me know your thoughts below. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. And I'll see you very soon.